Hey guys, welcome back to the BVR podcast. I'm abnormally pumped to invite my guest on today. This is Jessica from Kansas City. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good, good. You're a little nervous, right?
Yeah, super, super nervous.
But that's all right. We're going to have some fun today, I promise.
What kind of fun?
It's going to be fun across the board. So you and I met on Instagram, right?
Yeah, on the IG.
That's right, on the IG. And at that time, you were traveling through Denver, I think, to hang out with friends or see family.
Um, no, my best friend and we had been in Grand Lake and then we came back through Denver and stayed there on a vacation. So yeah, just like checking the social webs and whatnot.
and the
Yeah,
and the power of social media just
power of social.
put us in the same place at the same time. God knows
Yeah.
how that happens, whether it's a hashtag or simply just proximity, location. Uh,
Yes.
so I was super pleased to get to know you over Instagram. And along the way, let's say it's been probably about a year that we've known each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it was definitely before I went to San Diego, which was last
Yes.
Labor Day.
Yes.
All right. And
Yeah,
along,
because I went to Colorado last June.
okay, so it's been since June. Good.
Yeah.
And along the way, I discovered you work for a radio station in Kansas City that means that you're kind of default like a big Kansas City Chiefs fan.
Yes. Sports Radio 810, WHB.
Uh-huh. Sorry to hear that you're a Chiefs fan, but
Hey, we play today, the 49ers.
right. And along the way, you got an additional certification to help you in that job, right?
Well, not really to help me on my job, but more just like a personal passion.
Okay.
So,
So tell me about this
oh
personal
wait,
passion.
which one are you talking about?
You got
I had too
two.
many.
That sounds awfully familiar because I have six, and that's too many. It's five too many.
Yeah. No, I have two. So this year I got an HR certification and that helps me with my job. But then recently I was certified to teach a group exercise class. So,
And tell me about what kind of structure is this group exercise class? What drew you to it? And how did you decide that you wanted to actually become an instructor?
well, my mom is the one that actually introduced me to the class. It's called Group Centergy. So it's like a mix of yoga and Pilates. It has foundations of yoga and Pilates. So a lot of the moves are inspired by that. So it's really, I don't know, I've probably practiced yoga for the last like 4 or 5 years. And when my mom wanted me to join her for a class, and I was like, hey, what's this about? And she told me, I was like, yes, like I'll go with you. It's something we can do together. So that's how I kind of first heard about it. Because I'm normally doing cycling in the gym or weightlifting or whatever, and then just practice at home with my yoga. So when she liked it, and then I have a friend that teaches cycle, and she's been bugging me forever, Jess, you should be an instructor. And I was like, no, 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 like I'm not hype like that. And then I was like, well, maybe this, like maybe I could do that. Like that's more my speed. I have dance background and I really love that. So I just decided, you know what, why not go for it? And I have a lot of like fear of speaking in public. I'm sure like a lot of people. So I thought this will be something that will help me with that and help me engage with people. And I just decided to do it.
Hmm.
So.
And it was a pretty grueling certification process, wasn't it?
Yeah, so there was like a whole weekend of training. So like Friday, Saturday, Sunday, from like 8 to like 5 or something every day. And they would give you stuff every day. And then they're like, okay, this is what you have to teach the next day. And I was like mortified because I was like, I've never taught a thing to anyone. And then they give you something and you have to teach it the next day. So they had to do that. And a lot of the people in the class were already instructors. So they're like, whatever. And I was just like, oh my God, this is my worst nightmare. But it was fine. And then you basically just have to learn the whole programming and video yourself to when you teach to an actual class and send that in, and they really grade you on like your alignment for like your entire body, how you can teach to like their programming, and everything's based to music. So it's kind of like a dance. So you have to be on time, know the programming, and then also have correct posture and everything. So yeah, it was hard, but I'm glad I stuck with it. So
yeah, it's even more grueling than my certification process. Ours was simply just a really long test. So you started this instructor role to get far outside your comfort zone, is what it sounds like.
yes.
And what is
I
it? What does it cost you
I
since?
still get super nervous whenever I teach. And someone's like, I remember like doing like dance like performances, and you have like butterflies, you feel like you're gonna vomit. I still get like that. And then it's like worse when you're teaching people, because I feel like you are having to talk. So you're expending all that energy talking, and then you're doing the move. So you're like, I don't know. I'm usually like, is this hot yoga? Because I'm like sweating so much. I'm like, can they see me? Because I have like sweat like rolling down my face. It looks super attractive.
Oh, it just
But
means
yeah.
you're working right alongside your clients and your students that come to the class. So
Yeah.
congrats on finishing the certification. None of that is easy to get into the fitness industry in any way.
No. I know. I had a new appreciation for any class or trainer that I've ever had, because people are very good at their craft, but when you think, oh, I could do that, it's a lot harder when you put yourself on the other side.
Oh, absolutely. When I've worked with and coached trainers over the past 6 years or spoken at Metro State, these wide-eyed green kids, they don't know what they're getting themselves into, but that's why having somebody to reach out to who's been there before and done it before, like maybe your instructors in your weekend certification or somebody at your gym that you look up to.
Yeah, no, one of my really good friends, like, it's funny because after I took that training, she was like, because she does a lot of like really intense class, and she was like, you know what, like, I need something like that in my life. So she decided to become an instructor too in that. So she's like, if I don't teach it, I won't do it for myself.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Yeah, definitely holding yourself accountable through learning something new, as well as like showing up to your own class that you're teaching is a new level of accountability for us coaches.
For sure.
Like we
Sure.
show up for other people.
Yes, we do. And I don't know, I think a lot of times people think like if you are up there in front doing stuff, you like have everything together. Because somebody once was asking me about nutrition, and I'm like, oh God, like I'm not a dietitian, and I'm by far no way like can offer you meal advice, because last night I was like sitting on my couch eating a box of vanilla wafers. They're like, well, you seem to have it. I'm like, no, like I don't. Like I struggle just like everybody else.
Sure. So when somebody comes to you and they say that like it appears you have everything together, how honest can you be in response? How transparent or vulnerable can you be in response to their assumption?
Like for just like a random person at the gym.
I would say somebody like maybe a regular student that you build up over time. If they come down to the road or down the road like 6 months and they're like, "Hey Jess, thanks so much for like teaching me. You really seem to have all your stuff together." How honest are you going to be in response?
I mean, I would probably just be like legit real. Like, hey, I have some days where like I'm really good. Like I eat all the right things. And I have some days where like, you know what? Like I'm tired and I just want to eat pizza. And so I do. So it's kind of like balance, like don't like be super hard on yourself for those days where it's like, hey, I don't have it all together this day. I'm just doing the best I can, because like, we're not perfect. I'm not perfect. And um it's hard for me, I guess, sometimes to like not be hard on myself. So I think that's the thing you have to remind people, like, hey, like that day where you just need to eat pizza because you're having a bad day, or maybe you didn't like do all your meal prep, like give yourself grace, because that's honestly what everyone is doing.
Yeah, and don't beat yourself up about it and put it in the past. Like yesterday was yesterday.
Yes.
And I certainly didn't have the best nutrition day yesterday. And it's not because I don't have meal prep done and then in the fridge. I wasn't home from like 6 a.m. until 11 p.m. It was just one of those days.
Yeah. It's hard when you're going all the time too.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm. So you do meal prep regularly. That's something I've,
I
we've
mean,
talked about.
ish. I try. I try. I know the things that need to be done, but going to the grocery store is one of the things that I despise so, so much. I hate going.
Yeah.
So,
Amazon delivers food now, like groceries.
yeah, I've heard that happens.
So, like last June, we met on Instagram, and then maybe along the way, we were talking about how Instagram kind of shows up in our life, or maybe it's not the best influence for us because people like to put their best moments or their highlight reel on Instagram. And then I got this crazy idea to do a social media detox, and you jumped on board.
Yeah. Well, I think it was weird because I think like before I'd even seen you like post about that or mention it, I had kind of just started doing it on my own. Because I was like, you know what? Like I have all these things coming at me and it's like I'm spending too much time or like thinking I'm not living the best life because I see what other people are doing. And I just kind of like had just deleted my stuff and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to like delete it, see if how I feel about it if I miss it. And I really didn't, like and sometimes you get back or I would download it back and I was like, okay, I really didn't miss anything. And it was more like you just spend time like scrolling.
Mhm. Kind of mindlessly, habitually, and kind of non-productively, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. Or like you see somebody else doing something or like posting something or like I used to follow like a lot of people in the fitness industry and I had to just like unfollow because I don't know, people like pose certain way or they have good lighting and you like I am really bad at like comparing myself to people. So I'd be like, "Oh, well, I need to probably like start doing XYZ because they look like this." Or it's just like not super healthy.
Hmm. The power of Instagram in a positive way is like a connective tool that brought you and I together. And then we were able to build a friendship over time. And then the negative side of Instagram is exactly what you're just talking about. And what did the group style of the detox do for you as accountability and as support?
Um, well, I think it was just nice to know like other people like when they're sitting at a stoplight, they just want to mindlessly scroll, or like they're bored and they just want to like see what other people are doing.
Hmm.
So it's like, hey, like everyone has these same struggles, and it's nice to have people to kind of just talk to you about that. That you're not kind of in this own like you're in this own little bubble of struggle, a struggle bubble.
Struggle bubble. That struggle is real.
Yeah. So, it's hard to find people that can be super authentic like that. So, usually I think authenticity like that takes, like years of building up like trust with people because everyone kind of has their walls up.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, you mentioned that like halfway through. I mean, I've been 16 weekends in a row, or maybe I took one break in the middle or something like that when I was traveling. But you actually reached out individually and you said, "Hey, the group's really not as authentic as I feel like it should be,"
hey.
and that actually kind of like brought it back to me as the coach, and like, what am I doing to create that environment of authenticity and honesty amongst the group that you haven't met any of them in person, but you know them by text and by name, right?
Yeah, I'm like, so I have him in my phone as like Sarah. from Texas. Whatever. I don't even think there is a Sarah. But
No, Alyssa lives in Texas. She's our resident achiever on the Enneagram, and she, the power of Instagram as well connected me with Alyssa because she posted something in her Instagram stories about valgus knee movement. And I reached out and I said, hey, I have this brand new program. I want you to test it out for me. And I sent her the link and she did it. And she's like, Dave, I just finished this in the month-long program that you gave me, and my knee problem is gone away. So Instagram helped me start a conversation with Alyssa. And then she started joining us for the social media detox. And now she's like, hey, I'm doing this every weekend on my own.
Yeah, it's easy to do once you start. I think it's just super scary because it's like, I think people get super addicted to it, like the likes or just like having constant connection with people.
Yeah, but is it
that's
real connection? Like, is it real connection?
No, it's not. Like I honestly, like I was thinking the other day, I was like, I don't even remember the last time I like posted on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. I don't. We don't interact via that message thread anymore. Now it's just text. And here's what I wanted people to get out of it. And I think that you were just about to say this exact thing, is like, how can we become more present with family and friends on the weekends when it matters most without social media? So have you seen that occur like in your own life without social media on the weekends?
I mean, yeah, I think like you always like you have a person that's like, oh, let me get this for the snap, or let me get this for whatever, and it's like you don't even have to worry like, hey, where's my phone or whatever, I need to record this moment. So it's nice because you're actually like spending time with those people instead of like making moments for like the highlight reel.
Uh-huh.
I guess.
That's absolutely right. And like, if I'm not scrolling through Instagram on a weekend, like I have a new roommate in the last 5 or 6 months, and he and I are able to get to know each other better if I'm setting down my phone and we're like, hey, you want to walk down and get pizza?
Oh, eating pizza.
Hey, every coach needs a coach, right? So we have a pizza shop like a block from our place, and like, we were having this really cool conversation about the Kardashians versus Brene Brown one night.
What?
Yeah. And I have
a lot of questions.
Let me kind of preface this a little bit with some background, some story. So we were talking about influence versus status on social media.
Okay, that makes sense.
And there's a lot of differentiation between influence and status. Like, his point was, do the Kardashians have influencer status? And I was trying to pair them or kind of pit them against Brene Brown, who has maybe not as much status, but more influence.
That makes sense. I think that, I don't know, that's kind of hard though, because like the Kardashians have status and I think they influence people because of it. But I don't know that it's genuine influence.
Yeah, exactly. How far does that influence go? Is it only skin deep with one of the Kardashians' skin line or skincare line?
Yeah, I would say there's more superficial. Like people will buy whatever because they have the status and influence it, but I don't know that they're actually changing people's lives.
I'm so glad you said that, because that was definitely the point that we were both trying to get to. And the funny thing about this story is that I was making a point about Brene Brown's book sales and her viral video or her Netflix special. Her TED Talk has like 60 million views or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was talking about Brene Brown on the patio of this pizza shop, and this random lady walks by with two guys, and she's like, Brene Brown? I love Brene Brown.
Yeah, she's great. I think I told you about Brene Brown.
You definitely told me about the Call to Courage special on Netflix. So thank you.
Yeah. That was good.
And last year, right around the time that we met, I had just finished Daring Greatly. So that book came into my life at a really good time, because I believe, I read it in June, and then I interviewed Nick Mancini on the podcast about oversharing and healthy boundaries and things like that.
Yeah. Healthy boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
That's a
So
tough one.
let's jump into boundaries now that we've brought it up.
Oh no. Okay,
You're a type 2 on the Enneagram, right?
I am the
And
helper.
yeah, when did you discover the Enneagram? Was it when we met or before then?
I think you were the one that told me about it. I had never heard of that. It was different, whatever. The ones that are like INFJ,
Yeah.
those are when
Yeah,
I was familiar with that.
sure.
So,
So you took the Enneagram test and you found out you were the helper. And
yes.
where were you in your life when you found that out? And what was going on in your world?
Oh gosh. I don't remember. Oh my gosh. Okay, well, it was probably shortly after we met because I think you're like you geek out on it,
Definitely a nerd about the Enneagram. That's for sure.
which is great. Like we should all have something we're passionate about. So I think it was kind of probably after, I don't know, that year, last year was kind of like a year after I'd been dating someone for a while. And I really hadn't been, but I was like, well, this makes sense for a lot of things and how I was in that because I was just constantly doing whatever that person wanted.
Kind of
So,
like a pushover or a people pleaser.
oh yeah, for sure.
And then what really stood out at you when you read through your type description of the helper?
Um, well, I think part of it is like when you're not healthy, like the things that you can gravitate to. And it's like, oh, well, that makes sense for when I'm stressed, I act like this. Or, um,
As in, like you control and you're possessive and manipulative when you're stressed?
I think if I'm stressed, I try to find things to control to feel order. Um, and I think a lot of times that might even tend to be like myself, like my schedule or things like
Right.
that. So I don't really have anyone to manipulate or control. So, um,
Well, you can
yeah,
definitely be possessive of your time. Does that make sense? Like
yes,
if you're talking about your schedule and your calendar and you're controlling that, um, you're very much like owning every bit of free time outside of work, or if you're feeling out of control at work, you might actually possess your time a little bit more so. Does that make sense?
yeah, yeah, that makes sense. Or I think sometimes if I'm whatever feeling some type of way, I try and control and even like stay even more busy.
As a
Like,
distraction.
yes.
Hmm. Right. So if we've taken away social media as like an external validator or as a distraction, now we have a little bit more time in our lives, because you were already starting to like distance yourself from social media before we were doing our regular detoxes. Did that help improve your self-awareness through the Enneagram? Because we just talked about the dark side, like when you said you're not healthy. What's
Hmm.
improved since you've become more aware of who you are and that personality type?
Um, I think because I gravitate more to just telling people yes, or I want everyone to be happy, I have to be really cognitive of when I say yes. And am I saying yes to something because I actually want to do it? Or am I saying yes to it because I want someone else to be happy and like me? So I'm trying to like think more before I commit to things. Um,
As
because
opposed to just going with your heart of like, oh, if I say yes to this, then my heart will be full, right?
yeah, I know this is like not it's a low key example, but like last weekend I had a girlfriend and she had been out of town and for like a bachelorette party and I think there was some like girl drama or something. She was like, I need to like have a drink. I'm not a super big drinker, so like that just going and sitting somewhere and drinking is not that appealing to me. Um, she was like, do you want to meet me somewhere and have a drink? And I was like, my first reaction was like, yes, I'll go, whatever. But I was like sitting in my house and like I just like made dinner and I was like gonna practice for class. And I was like, that was like my plan. And it was like a Sunday. So I was like, I really don't want to go out. I don't want to do that. And I was like, okay, why don't you just say, hey, that sounds fun. I'd love to hear about your weekend, but I already am doing this. And I was like, I don't like inside, I like kind of like cringed a little bit, like telling her no, like, oh my God, she's gonna hate me. But she was like, okay, no big deal. But
Mhm.
like, I think that's a very small thing. Obviously there are bigger things, but
I think that's
that
huge.
it's hard for me to
Yeah.
tell people no.
Yeah. Well, you set a healthy boundary and she actually didn't take it personally. So that's a good feedback and it's a good win for you.
Yeah, small wins.
Yeah. So don't think of it as like super light or super small because for type 2 on the Enneagram, that's huge.
Yes, it is huge. So learning to
Understanding
tell
that,
people no is a big thing.
yeah, understanding that she'll still love you even if you say no and set a healthy boundary.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. So you after a year of understanding that about yourself, um, what's a bigger thing in your life right now that stands out at you, where you need to either set a healthy boundary or you've seen actually like amazingness come out of discovering who you are?
Um, I mean, I kind of realized for a while that I was probably just dating to feel some kind of validation. Um, I don't know. I think a lot of people do that though. But for me, knowing that that was one of the things that I seek external validation to feel good. I don't remember when it was, but I just like stopped. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm not doing all of the apps. I just deleted everything. And I found that that was like nice to just have like me time. And I don't know, it's been
Hmm.
refreshing.
Yeah, and
So,
you've accomplished a lot in the last year since we met. You know, 2 certifications, and I see in the background that you have like the cutest house that you
oh
bought
my God.
for yourself by yourself, right?
I do. Yeah. I bought a house last November. So I haven't even lived here about a year yet. But yeah, I've done a lot of things. Um
How does that
yeah.
make you feel?
I feel super accomplished, and sometimes I think I forget that because I'm super hard on myself. So it's nice to have, I guess, people that cheer you on. So I have a best friend. She lives in Indianapolis, and whenever I'm having like a bad day, and I'm like, no, I'm like a sad puppy. She's like, no, remember, like you're a badass. Oh, can you say that?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay. Uh, we're not on TV.
Not yet.
um, so she reminds me of like all the things I've done or accomplished. So I think that's key for anyone that you have like a cheerleader or someone that you can be like your true self with.
Mhm. Now that we've learned a lot about you, what's and you've taken some time off of dating,
Yeah.
what are your intentions around meeting somebody in Kansas City?
Ah! Well, it's funny because when you're not looking, apparently that's when it happens for you. So, yeah, recently, one of my friends introduced me to someone. So that's very new. And it's funny because I had this saying and I was like, um, saying it to everyone. And I was like, hashtag man break, hashtag summer of Jess. Like everyone knew about it. And I was not about dating or anything. And one of my friends like, hey, I have this guy friend, like he's not looking for anything. I know you're not looking for anything, but I think you guys would have fun. Like you like some of the same stuff, like you go to concerts together or whatever. And I was like, yeah, whatever. Just remind him like I'm on a man break. So, anyways, we met up and I think like I had no intentions of dating this person. And I think when you approach something and you're your true authentic self, that um, you display a very different person. And I think the fact that I was just like approaching this person as like a best friend or like one of my girlfriends and not like worrying about like, oh my gosh, what am I supposed to say next? Or like screenshotting something and sending it to my friend and saying, hey, what do I say back? Like I didn't care.
So
That
you weren't attached to the outcome. You didn't have any expectations.
No, yeah, I didn't care. And I was just like, this is who I am. And I don't care if they like me or not because I didn't want anything. And then it kind of turned into something where, hey, you're kind of cool. And they're like, hey, you're kind of cool. And they were like, well, maybe should we? And I was like, I don't know, because I'm on a man break. So,
How long is your man break gonna last?
I mean, it's been a little bit, it's gone on a detour. So.
You're on hiatus from the man break.
Yeah, so
So you had different intentions when you first met somebody, and then he was on the same page, and then your intentions changed.
yes, we both were coming about it as friendship. Um, but I think the difference is when you're like kind of like almost like when you had like a day, like you have a day and you want it to be like, okay, my day is going to go like this. And then your day doesn't go like that. And then you're super disappointed, like you're sad about it. I think sometimes like that's how dating is. Like you meet someone on an app and you have this false reality about like, okay, we're going to be this. And then that doesn't happen. You like get super upset about it. But if you just kind of show up and you're like, this is who I am and I don't care and it's whatever, like you don't have any expectations. And I think that's the difference because a lot of times, and I know like I've been guilty of it, my friends do it. Like you meet this person and you have all these conversations, like via text or whatever, and you finally get there, whatever, a week later, and you've created some kind of fake reality of what this person's going to be. And then if they're not, you're like, oh.
Super
So,
disappointed about it.
yeah. One my cousin said that she's married now, but she would meet people and she would try and meet them like she wouldn't text them very much and then she would plan a date and then she kept like a journal of all these dates and she would write down like the important things that happened and how she reacted to keep track and she even did it when she met her husband and I was like you need to find that journal because I want to read it. She was like yeah I think he went in for like a weird awkward side hug at the end or something so she didn't think he was into her.
And you ended up married.
Yeah.
I think that journaling exercise is a good practice to have because, uh, yes, tools like the Myers-Briggs and the Enneagram are amazing for us, but if we're not processing through experiences and thoughts that we have in our dating life, then we're not really going to take the tool that we learn about ourselves to the next level.
Yeah, for sure. And I think sometimes you don't remember, like the way you think things were isn't actually what it was.
Yeah, you
So,
can definitely tell yourself false stories for sure. Even after
oh, yeah.
the first date, and then maybe down the road you misremember what that first date was, but you can look back on what you journaled that night after after you met for the first time. And like,
Right?
even though he gave her the side hug, it actually wasn't the truth at all that he wasn't interested.
No, 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 no.
Yeah.
No.
So like you, this episode comes out like the fastest I've ever produced an episode. So we're recording Saturday for a Monday release day.
Oh my God, I'm going to be famous by Monday.
And like you, I'm not on a man break because I'm the guy, but I'm definitely on a break. And that's so good for me because it's a lot like the social media detox. What is it that I need to eliminate, or what distraction do I need to take out of my life in order to reach that level of like, here I am, this is my most authentic self, and I'm not attached to the outcome, and I don't really invest if you like me or not because I love me.
Yeah. Wait, are you asking me for advice for you?
Yeah, hit me with it, Jess. What do you think? We've been friends long enough. You can.
Oh, so well, you need a cute hashtag. So I can't help you with that. You gotta come up with that. Okay,
So
so
I'm gonna challenge you on that one because I'm professing that social media and seeking external validation on social media, and you're gonna give me a hashtag recommendation.
well, I never use the hashtag on social media. I would more or less say joking when like my friends would be talking about their dates or like who they're meeting and whatever. And I would be
Like
like,
in a
hash.
text thread.
No, like in person. So it made it
Okay.
more, it was like more funny because I would like be hashtag man break. And they're like, oh.
Somebody says, "Hey, look at that guy. He's really cute over there. Jess, you should go talk to him. You're single." And you're like, hashtag man break.
Yeah. Like the hashtag was never trending except with me.
I love personal jokes that nobody else would think are funny.
Yeah. Okay, advice for you. Haven't you already been on a break before though?
Yeah, I took a break in the spring, and 10 days later, I met somebody and I dated her for a couple months.
Oh, well, that wasn't really a break. That was like a pause.
Well, it certainly was a mindset shift, and that's what I needed. So, like you, I deleted all the apps because I was already doing the social media detoxes, and every weekend um, I would delete the dating apps as well because I wasn't finding success there anyways. So, okay, well, if I'm working on the common denominator of myself, and there's another factor in here that keeps repeating the same pattern, which is the date or the dating app, excuse me, where I'm just not finding the person with the high enough standards that I want to date, or it
Hmm.
doesn't match up on core values. Because, like you said, there's a false reality there, and I don't truly know this person.
Yeah.
So 10 days after I made a commitment to myself of like, okay, 90 days, no dating, 10 days later, I met somebody, and it was like your own situation where uh,
Well,
very
I
similar.
feel I feel like you can't be super hard about the timeline because I was really hard about the timeline on myself,
How much
but
time were you going to give yourself?
I mean, the break's gone. There's no more break. But I don't remember when I started it. But I think when summer started and I wasn't doing it, like I just thought, oh, this will be fun to say Summer of Jess or whatever. I don't know. But I came up with that, and then I like set some whatever on myself that I just wasn't gonna be whatever. But I already wasn't dating, and I don't know. I think
What did you set for yourself? Were those like personal boundaries or personal commitments to yourself?
like so. I guess that was the thing that I had to realize. So was this new variable in my life, was I still being true to like the things that I wanted to accomplish? Was I like changing my schedule for this person? Was I not um like spending time with my friends or my family? Was I not focusing on like the things that I love, like my yoga or like doing my class? And like I was still doing all those things, so I wasn't like taking away from the stuff that I wanted to like accomplish. But I think since I had mentally like said Summer of Jess or whatever, I was
Mhm.
like, no, I can't be with anyone or meet anyone until September 23rd, which is the first day of autumn.
So, what was really important to you was never losing your identity in the process of meeting somebody new.
Yes, yes, yes. Which I kind of had to realize that was the whole goal on the thing, that it wasn't don't meet anyone. It was keep boundaries for success for yourself, even if you do meet someone. Because I guess that comes back to the whole type two. I tend to lose myself if I meet someone because I just want their happiness and I don't worry about myself anymore. So, first circle, like the circle of life.
Well, I'm so damn proud of you, Jess. Like, just to be able to say that out loud. I know that you had this foundation in you a year ago when we met, but to see the person you were then to the person you are now, so damn proud of you.
Ah, Thanks.
Yeah, of course.
It's not easy though. Like you gotta, I think like it takes a lot of time of self-reflection, like, and not every day like is like, oh my God, I'm super great. Like I've had days where I'm like crying on my couch. So
I'm thinking that I need one of those like just ugly cry sessions.
yeah, you should do it. It's
Just like
very,
start pulling out my arm hair so that I can feel something again.
do you not cry ever?
I'm not much of a crier. Like, um, so I take a lot of vitamins, and when I have too many B vitamins, I call them the B6 cries because um,
What?
it's just helping my body produce more fluid, basically, and intracellular, cellular, extracellular water. It's all part of the homeostasis process. But I make a joke because when I have like too much B vitamin in a day, I'll cry at like a sad movie that night, or
Oh,
a really um, expressive meme or a sad commercial. I don't watch TV, but like, yeah, I'll tear up a little bit, but no, I don't cry much.
you're like over there watching The Office and you see like Jim and Pam and you're like, no.
So I'll be honest with you, I've never watched a full episode of The Office.
What?
I just couldn't get into it because of I know that this is the point to the show, but Michael's character is so outlandishly unaware. Like he is so unconscious to the things that go on around him that like it rubs me the wrong way. So I just can't buy into the hilarity of it.
Yeah, I get that.
And maybe like you, I'm trying to control my environment by not having that disruption.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to watch a lot of TV. I tend to like need time after a day just to decompress, and have not thinking about anything. So I'll watch like maybe a show or something on Netflix.
Right. And The Office isn't on Netflix, so I never really binged it. But
Yes, I think it is on the Netflix.
is it? All right. Well, we got a little off topic there, but I think that there was an important point in there of like Netflix and TV just mindlessly watching it is the same thing as social media, and it is
Oh
a
yeah.
distraction from us to reach our goals. And you checking off 2 certifications that were important to you, buying a home all on your own as a single adult in America is really hard to do right now. So if we spend too much time watching TV or scrolling through social media, we can't do any one of those 3 things.
No, you gotta like focus on what you want. Because I had to, when I was studying for that stuff, I had to be like, I had to say no to a lot of things, like friends hanging out, you know, you just have to, okay, what is most important to you? What will bring you? You have to think of the end goal instead of
Mhm.
like the moment, like
Yeah.
reward.
Stephen
So,
Covey says, start with the end in mind. And if your friends are truly friends, they will respect when you say no to set a healthy boundary so that you can finish these goals that you've set for yourself.
yeah, for sure. And I think even with my friendships, I've had to realize to, um, I guess, be more authentic in friendships. I tend to be a very private person and I don't want people to know what's going on with me or if I'm struggling. So I don't tend to offer that up to anybody unless I have like probably like 3 really close friends that know all my stuff. But everyone else, I'm like, okay, you're not the inner circle, so you don't get to know everything. Um,
That's more like the challenger on the personality type, but the helper definitely gravitates towards, well, I mean, we have all parts of the Enneagram within us, but like when you say the inner circle or the power of 5, which is a concept from another business leader in the United States, like we don't need more than 5 people to help us level up or to have quality friendships.
yeah, I think a part of it though with being like truly authentic is because a little bit goes back to I don't want all these other people to know like the bad stuff or the stuff that maybe like isn't pretty or isn't like fun just or whatever. I don't want them to know that I don't have my life together on some days. I want them to like me.
Sometimes it's none of their business, but let me
Yeah.
let me ask you a question on that topic that's been burning in my mind.
I know.
Brene Brown is a shame researcher.
Yes.
Is that why her message resonates with you so much? Because what you're talking about right now is a little bit of extending who you are to more people than just five, is a little bit of hiding behind shame.
Yeah. I mean, I think there could be some of that in that. I know like when I was training for this yoga thing, I was trying to, it took a lot of nights, like doing everything over and over again, watching the instructors on the videos I get to learn it, watching it over and over again, practicing in front of the mirror. And I had to say no to my friends sometimes. And I didn't really like, I just would say, no, I can't do that. And I think they were a little put off because I was just like, no. But then kind of like one day I felt like people were responding to me different. Like, and I said, hey, I know I've probably been a little MIA lately, haven't been like hanging out as much or whatever, but this is why. Like, this is really, really, really hard. And I want to be like going and doing all this stuff with you, but I have to like get this and I have to do it right. And like, once I was the one that like opened up and said, like, hey, this is really hard and I want to do all these things, but I'm struggling and I can't manage everything. They're like, oh my gosh, like that means whatever. And so I think when you kind of open yourself up to other people and even though it sucks to kind of be the first one, it's very much reciprocated.
Mhm.
So, but I didn't want them to know because I just wanted them to like think I had it all together and I didn't. But yeah.
We very rarely do have all of our stuff together at any one point.
No, you don't.
And you're right that when you are vulnerable with people that are actually earning it, they are so much more easily vulnerable in return, and it's a beautiful thing.
For sure.
Yeah. Well, what do you say we catch up in the next 6 months, 12 months, and we check in where you're at and see how far you've come from our conversation today. But
Yeah.
if
6 months from
one,
now,
what's
maybe the
that?
Chiefs will be in the Super Bowl.
So you said you're not coming to Denver when the Chiefs come to town. You're going to San Diego, is that right?
No.
No, where are you going with the Chiefs when you travel?
I don't know if I'm going to go this year with work, but I think I have some friends who are talking about going to the Tennessee game.
Okay,
So yeah.
awesome.
Nash Vegas.
Well, too bad we can't meet up for brunch the day after the Broncos game, the Chiefs game
Right?
this
Yeah.
year. So,
Too bad.
so if there's one thing that we didn't get to or that you wanted to kind of expand on a little bit more that we didn't get to, what would that be? What do you want to say to us before I let you go for the day?
Oh my gosh, I have no idea. I don't know. I guess maybe is give yourself grace. Um and just try and authentically connect with people because like that's where the magic happens. So,
Boom.
yeah.
Well said. Well, thanks, Jess. I appreciate you so much. This was a lot of fun.
It was fun.
All right. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, bye.